beauties. What's up, my people? I'm so glad to be back. It's your girl, Nidirah. So today we're going to be talking about creating an altar space, which is a very important tool when you are on your path, when you're looking to just learn more about yourself. But we'll get into what altars are for. So I'm just so excited to be here today. It's been a rough week. It has been rough. There has been a lot of astrological events. We just hit our full moon eclipse and in Gemini. So that was like on the 30th, on November 30th. So that was like real kind of intense. And let me tell you, my altar has been saving me from being foolish. We'll put it like that. It's been saving me from being foolish. And so I have notes here so I can stay on track. Because I don't really want to be here for long. I don't want to keep you long. We got stuff to do. So basically, you need an altar, right? Or you should have an altar to help you connect to your higher self, to your spirit team. It's a designated area. I would say like a holy place. And the more that you come to this place with the intention of connecting with your spirit team, connecting with your higher self or your ancestors or any deities that you are working with, it builds up this spiritual energy in that location. Your spirit team kind of know where to meet you, and if for some reason you need to give a gift or offering or whatever, you and your spirit team talk about, that would more than likely be the designated areas, unless they have you go out into nature somewhere, and it will be clear to you. Like, you'll know as you work with your team, you'll know the quirks and nuances and things of that nature. So just the fact that you're taking the time out with intention to connect with them in that space makes it holy, and over time it just starts to build, the energy starts to build up. So, and well, we'll get into some of the places where they can be in your house, so we'll get to that in a minute. So as far as who goes on your altar, number one, your altar is to connect to your spirit team. Now, you may have some ancestors on your spirit team, but in general, your altar is for you to connect with your spirituality, okay? So anyone that you communicate with basically is people that's on your team. You might have a rotation of team members, you're not always permanently attached to some of the people on your spirit team, so that may change with different spirits that you're working with. So you want to put some type of representation of your team or your spirituality. It can be a picture of someone or a symbol. It can be just certain colors that you use, but mostly the altar is you connecting to your spirit team. And you want to ask your spirit team about what you should and should not put on there. And any thought that comes into your head, bam, that's the answer. You have to trust it and go with it. If you're having a struggle with it, you know, there's a issue there. But for the most part, you know, don't second guess yourself. You know, don't think about it too much, or you just start getting into your head and now you're confused, right? So it can be, like I said, some ancestors, and it doesn't have to be your direct bloodline of ancestors. It can be ancestors that you just like really connect with them, with their stories. So like many people connect with Malcolm X, or Martin Luther King, Buddha, Jesus. So it's whomever that you connect with. Well, I guess Jesus is not and Buddha are not ancestors, they're ascended masters, but I hope you get what I'm saying here. So now getting to where to place your altars. Definitely altars can be put anywhere you like. I would avoid the bathroom. That's probably one place you don't want to have it in. However, bathrooms are very different. If you have like sections in your bathroom, like I wouldn't put it like next to the toilet, like you know, to just, you know, because I know that there are water spirits who, you know, may like that sort of type of space of like being in the bathroom. So like if it's like a half bath or something, and you know, I would think that it's okay. But you know, like your main bathroom, I wouldn't put an altar there. There are certain teachers who suggest not having a altar in your bedroom, especially if you are having intercourse there, or you know, whatever you do to, you know, pleasure yourself, or however that works with you and your partner. They suggest it not being in the bedroom, and that's not because of any disrespect or anything. I mean, like, these are spirits, people, like really spirits. Now, if there's like opposing energies, that's different, and I wouldn't even really call that them fighting with each other, but I would just say that it's more like these energies repel each other. But in the bedroom and you have an altar there, there is this notion that you can invite like unwanted spirits, or a kind of orgy type of energy into the mix. So if that's not your thing, then you know, that's totally fine. But if that's not your thing, then you know, you probably don't want to have your altar in the place where you are intimate. Like I said, bedrooms are set up in a lot of different type of ways. So if you have like an entry coming into your bedroom, like before you get into the main area, I don't see why you would not be able to have like a small little altar space there if you felt the need to. But do what feels right for you. Always just, you know, check with yourself, check with your spirit team, and you'll get the feeling whether that's the right thing for you or not. Okay, so we're gonna start with just now constructing the altar. So you want to use a natural material. I would say wood is probably the best. If you have like a natural metal, that would be fine. I used to have like some copper tables that I don't know where they are. If I can find them, they would probably be perfect for like altars, like coming into the house of warrior or whatnot, now that I'm thinking about it. But just make sure that it's a natural material, and just use what you can, you know, like the universe will provide you with what you need. It doesn't need to be very expensive. I've heard of people using TV trays, whatever. I have used a cardboard box. Like, I tape that bad boy up and, you know, put a cloth over it, and it was good. And some of my altars are on the floor, so hey, whatever. And that was okay for me. I get results. Okay, so just don't be limited by any sort of type of rules. Just kind of do what feels good to you and be creative and check in with your spirit team. I think you won't go wrong with that. But natural material, wood, is probably the best option. You don't have to have an altar cloth. It does bring like a certain type of vibe and energy to it, a pureness. It doesn't absorb the energy. It helps to anchor the energy in the area. So you can paint your wood table white if you like, or use a white cloth. It could be a white t-shirt, a white towel, whatever, a pillowcase. It doesn't have to be fancy. This is for you connecting with your spirit team. We're not looking for awards here, right? I think that's all that I want to say about the cloth. It's not necessary, you know. It's just another component of something else that you're adding intention to. So when you are putting your altar together, you want to keep in mind that you want to represent each of the elements. And the elements are fire, water, air, and earth. So we're going to get into each element and different things that you can use to kind of represent that element on your altar. But I'll also give you my opinion of what the number one element would be. Well, not element, but the number one representation of that element. So for fire, we're going to start with fire. Candles is the number one thing that comes to mind when you want to represent fire. It constantly burns for a set amount of time. It's easy to come by. They come in many different sizes. You can use different colors to create more intention for what you're working on at that particular time. If you are practicing magic, you might have a wand. So the wand is usually a representation of fire. Some people use those censer things, where you put the incense in and it burns. I think it's a piece of coal that goes in there. So that would be continuously burning the coal. You can use dragons, like let's say if you're creating an altar, like maybe in your backyard, you can use a statue of a dragon that would represent fire. Some people use ashes or the phoenix bird. So definitely get creative with where you're putting your altar and also the things that you're using to represent. But if let's say if this is in your spiritual room, I would definitely just go with using a candle for your element, to represent your element of fire. So for the water element, a chalice. You can use a fancy cup is what a chalice is, in case you're not sure, and put water in there or another liquid. It could be a representation of water, so you can use wine if you're really trying to set a romantic type of scene, or whatever, because I also use my altar for my magic too. So this is my point of view. If you're not really into the magic, you can just use good quality water, not tap water. I use spring water. You can use whatever water that you drink, right? So as far as different places where you might have your altar, you can use pictures of the ocean, beach items, like Abilene shells or other shells you find on the beach, or beach rocks, or sea creatures, mermaids. I would say that if you're using like a liquid, like a water or a wine, you definitely want to change it often. Depending on your environment, you might need to change the water every 3 days, but I would say don't go more than a week without changing the water. You just want to make sure that you keep the energy at your altar high vibing, so no stagnant energy, no decaying food or water should be there for long periods of time. Okay, so that is water. Next we have air, or wind if you would like. I would say that the number one representation of air would be incense. If this is like your holy place where you're doing your main spiritual work, then yes, incense is the best way to go. It burns for a set amount of time, and also the scent or the type of incense that it is also brings other elements and intentions into the area, into the energy. So you can also use rattles or chimes. You can use feathers or butterflies, birds. Some people use fairies too, because you have different elements of fairies. So if you're going to use fairies, I would probably use a fairy that maybe has wings and flies versus a fairy that looks more like it's an earth fairy. So just keep that in mind. So our next element is earth, and obviously you can use a bowl of soil if you like. It can be a soil from by the river, or a soil from a special place that has a certain type of energy or intention. You can dress it up with some crystals if you like. I would use probably as few crystals as possible, because I wouldn't say that your altar is a place where you should keep or store your crystals, but if you're doing work, then obviously you would just bring the crystal to the working area. Just don't store it there, because crystals give off frequency. They're used for communication, and it can create feedback and be disturbing for certain types of spirits. Okay, so you can also use sand instead of soil. Earth goddess, you can earth goddess. You can have an earth goddess represented there. Earth goddesses, potted plants, which I would say is probably the number one representative that I would use, and then probably like a crystal after that. I know, but I would bring the crystal there, not store it there. Yes. Fresh herbs, that's very good. You can use like earth fairies, like gnomes, elves, or you can use dwarves. Essential oils, that's a good one. What if you just drop the essential oil in the soil? Would that be a double dose of earth? I don't know, it just pops in my head. So things that you want to kind of decorate, quote unquote, your altar with pictures of people that you connect with, like your ancestors. It can be artists, anyone that you're connecting with and you're working with that type of energy. Okay, definitely, like I mentioned earlier, talk to your spirit guides, talk to them about what would be appropriate and what feels right with you and what doesn't. If you feel like very emotional with it and kind of hung up on it, I would definitely not put it on there, just because there's a fight within you for a reason, right? So money, people burn ancestor money. It's not necessary. Spirits don't use money, so it is kind of weird, especially if we're using money that has Chinese writing on there and pictures of Chinese ancestors. I don't really feel like that's connecting with the ancestors and the spirits that I work with on a normal basis. They really more so kind of look like me, which is the truth right now. Well, maybe except for, never mind, I'm not going to get into that right now. I would suggest maybe making your own ancestor money, which I think would be even better because you're putting your own raw intention into it. I think it would be so much more powerful than buying ancestor money. So it's not even necessary, period. Just your energy of making the commitment to come to your altar on a regular basis, working with your spirit team and connecting with your ancestors or ascended masters. You are giving them that energy that they would use to help you. So, to help. So you are helping them help you. You're making the job easier for them. And, they love and appreciate you anyway, or they wouldn't even be there to help you. So there is no need for you to have to give them money. Like, they're really not using it. They're not using money. They are in a realm where they can think about shit and it just pops up in front of them. Like, they don't need to catch a ride, right? So I'm just saying, however, if that is your thing and what you do, hey, do you. If it's working, it's working. Hey, right? All right, let me see. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything here. Yes, okay, this is awesome. So, crystal and crystal grids. So I would say don't use a million crystals. Don't use a million crystals. Kind of stick to a few of them. If you are inspired to create maybe something like a crystal grid, ask your spirit team where that grid should go. It usually won't be at the altar. That altar is kind of like your own space. So I see crystal grids as kind of like a portal type of thing. So your crystal grid might more so go into the areas of maybe like your living room space or entry or exit of some sort. But because of crystals having such powerful frequencies attached to them, it's recommended not to have them in that altar space. Okay, if you're using an amethyst to help you meditate, like that's fine. That's no problem at all. But just check with your spirit team on that. I know that I have some ancestors where I only have obituaries, I only have pictures of them. And if you are connecting with that ancestor or that type of energy that they anchor in, definitely don't hesitate to put their obituary up there. It's okay. You know, always check with your spirit team, right? That's the mantra. Check with your spirit team, and it's okay. If it's okay if you know you want to put it up there, that's not bad juju. And I would say that's the same thing for belongings as well. Maybe if you don't even have an obituary of, you know, you know, you can just use maybe the cigar holder that he used, or if you have a hat or a scarf or something, you know, I would just say make sure that it's clean and have it set up there neatly. And that's just fine. That is just fine. There's no problem with that. I think it'll be adding an amazing visual for you, maybe something that you can focus on. So coming to alcohol and food, like, y'all know we love putting food and alcohol on our altars, giving meals, and these things do bring energy. I ain't gonna lie, they do bring energy, but just make sure you know why you're doing it, and make sure that there is a reason. Because you just trying to share your dinner, you know, with your ancestors, unless they have specifically told you that that's what they want you to do, it's not necessary. It's really not necessary. And just kind of understand, like, if you're working with a Caribbean deity, it's normal for them to ask for a rum of some sort, or I would say maybe even a cognac. But you know, them asking for vodka is probably not like a thing. That's something that I would see, like, I don't know, like Thor or somebody asking for it, like somebody of more of a European type of designation, let's say. So definitely just understand why you're doing it. Don't leave it up there for a long time, especially food. Like, you can cover it with some type of paper towel or saran wrap, but I wouldn't really leave the food on the altar for more than a couple of hours. Definitely not more than a day. Definitely not more than a day. Fruit is okay. You can leave fruit on there for about 3 days, I think, have been my limit. Because they are using that energy, and like, I have put fruit on there and it has been sucked. It was just sucked all up. I was like, oh goodness, it wasn't even up here that long. And I really thought that I was doing something wrong, because I was listening to another teacher and they were saying that your fruit should be able to last for a long time. That's how you know you have good energy. And I'm like, I must be the devil, because this fucking fruit looks terrible. So I don't know, you guys. I think that the spirits was eating it up. I think that that's what it is. And when the life is gone out of something, it dies, it decomposes. So hey, flowers, potted plants are the best because they have more energy. Cut flowers are beautiful and they have sentimental value, and definitely you can add them to your altar. But just know that, like, that orange or whatever fruit it was, I think it was an orange that I put on there, is gonna dry out really quickly. They're gonna take that energy, and that's okay. That's okay. But just keep that in mind, because flowers can get expensive, and you know, you don't want to put roses up there every day for TT Nana, because she's gonna suck them dry every day. Okay. Clean your altar space regularly. I would say weekly. Wipe down the hard surfaces that you have with Florida water, or you can use, I would say you can use vinegar. Nothing too harsh, something natural. Definitely use something natural. You can make your own natural cleaner if you want. You want to make sure that you dust away and wipe away any ashes from your candle and incense, any wax that has spilled over. You want to just clear it up. Don't clutter it. Don't let it be cluttered. And this should be done on a regular basis. This should be done. I would say this would be considered kind of like a deep cleaning weekly, but you want to just pick up your incense sticks and whatnot just day to day, you know. So if you're moving, make sure you pack all your altar stuff together, because as we talked about earlier, these elements create a atmosphere, a certain energy when they're together, and you want to keep that energy together. So pack them away. You can use a special box or a bag or whatever, but just keep it together. That way when you move and you get to your new destination, everything is all together. You could just take it out the bag or box and plop it up together. So, and the main reason for that is because you want to keep that energy, that energetic connection together. So the best time to connect to your spirit team is between the hours of 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. So if you're rolling out of bed, you're probably going to go to the bathroom, so you just want to make sure that you clean yourself up a little bit, rinse your mouth out, wash your hands, maybe throw some water on your face, maybe help wake you up as well. If you've been intimate that night, definitely just, take a shower, or you can take a bird bath. They used to call it a hoe bath when I was growing up in a project, so a hoe bath. It ain't nothing wrong with no hoe bath. You clean. And you can have as many altars as you want. There is no limit to how many altars that you can have. Go for it. Have a great time. I would just avoid areas where you are intimate, and the bathroom, like the part where you're where the toilet is, and maybe the shower. It just depends on you at that point. There is a thing, and I think we touched on it earlier, about energies repelling each other. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's negative, but it does create a rift, or you can kind of tell, and I'm saying you can tell because you're gonna be intuitive about this. You're gonna be able to judge the current of energy that's around you, especially the more time that you spend at your altar. It's just something that's gonna be natural. So you want to kind of keep energies that repel each other. I've heard examples maybe don't have Anubis and Obatala together. Those energies may clash, and not saying that they don't like each other, but I just think that the energies would repel each other in a way. You might pick up on it, you might not. Or if in the mythology they had beef, you can kind of judge it okay, is this energy going to be okay? Is it going to flow together? Just watch out for that. And don't create altars for your workers, I would say, your angels or even fairies. It's one thing to respect them, but it's another thing to worship them. And don't do that, because they're there to help you. You don't worship your waiter because they bought you some 5-star steak. You praise the chef, not the waiter. And that's the same thing with the the angels and the fairies. So, well, I know angels for sure. So I'm trying to think. I think we made it to the end. I don't really believe that there is anything else that needs to be said about altars. I just took a few notes. I know I said a lot. But I'm just really excited to talk to you about this, because when I tell you that being at my altar has literally saved me from just acting out, and I wouldn't say that it's the altar itself, because the altar is like a portal. I mean, as you can, it's a portal. Oh, sorry, y'all. And this portal connects you to anywhere you want to go, whoever you want to go to. It brings a clarity in a way, because you know that when you sit down in front of this altar, that there is a peace that is there, and it's like a blanket. It's like laying down in bed and putting your blanket over yourself. It's like as soon as you get into that space, it just comes over you. And it does not take long to get to that place. You don't have to do it for 21 days. I would say if you can just do it for a week, and you'll probably get into that space sooner than that, depending on what your practices are already. So set up an altar. It does not have to be elaborate. It does not have to be huge. You can fit it in a box and carry it around with you if you like. It is not that serious. What is serious is that you actually do set up a place that you go to on a regular basis to communicate and connect with your higher self and your spiritual team. So, you guys, I think that we've made it to the end. And I don't have any tarot cards this week. This was kind of like a, let me hurry up and get this out. Like, I need to get this out. I need to let you know. I need to talk to you. I need you to know that this is something that we are really going to need to tap into. We're really going to need this area in this space to connect with our spirit team, and also to just bring in and anchor in more protection, because 2020 is almost over. It's been a year of doing the spiritual work, balancing out emotional energies, and bringing truth to light. And so that takes a lot of work, that takes a lot of energy, and now going into 2021, that's a number 5. So 5 in the tarot is all about some type of conflict or upheaval. You know, there is a disturbance. There's a sort of type of disturbance in the air. So the year 5, there's going to be change, and it's going to be a change that is going to be turbulent. That's just what the number is saying, you know, but we'll get more into that. This is running kind of long. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here with me and listening to me talk and just really taking heed of what I'm saying. If you have any questions or if you just want to reach out, hit me up at livebeyondboundaries44@gmail.com. Peace out, guys.